everybody. Welcome. So thanks for coming. Really appreciate it. It's really cool of you all to be here to Thinking Out Loud with Friends, the What's New with You episode. This is 230 consecutive every week. 230. I can't believe it. Now it's like I find I'm addicted to this and I'm saying, all right, maybe I should stop. No, I can't. It's 230. I have to keep going.
So when was the first episode?
Who knows? 230 episodes
It was
ago.
in 2020, I believe, because
It
that
was
was when
it was
COVID.
right.
That was when we were locked down.
Yeah, it was right in the heart. It was absolutely right in the heart of COVID. I mean, where everybody was thinking, "Wow, what do we do?" Life is over as we know it, and it
Well,
really turned out to be correct.
I'll
Life
tell
has
you,
changed.
Jan, this saved my mental state meeting you guys every week. It was just like unbelievable.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
what's his name from Vox? What did he say?
Sean.
Sean said something really, really good about it.
Yes, that is cheaper than therapy.
There you go. Yeah, but it's just
It's
as
more
good,
fun and
right?
cheaper than therapy, and I went with that as a catch hook. But right now, it's like, what's new with you? I want to know what's going on. I'm going to start, and I'm going to say, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, I am proud to announce that I am getting married on November 16th at the Little Church of the West. The Little Church of the West.
In fact,
So you're all invited.
Cheryl got married there back in the 70s.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's been around forever. It's a little wedding factory, and they have all these different packages. I invested in the Supernova package, but basically it means that we're going to have unlimited guests. There's going to be a photographer there. They don't want my guests to take video from their cell phones, but I say that's nonsense. Take as much video as you want. And then, so I'm really excited. By the way, just an FYI, what's new with me? Today was another session with radiation. I have only 9 more to go, 9 or 8 more to go. Let me see. I might have only 8 more to go. 8 more to go. 8 more radiation sessions to go, and then I will be cancer free. And I am very excited about that for my prostate cancer. So,
well, congratulations, and congratulations. So
Yeah,
many congratulations for you.
Very, very good.
You're
Yeah,
positively glowing.
oh, I'm definitely, happy. That's because of the lights I'm using. That's why.
So how frequent are those radiation sessions? Like
every day at 10 a.m.
Oh, so 8 days from now you'll be done, or something like that?
That's correct. On the 4th because they take off on the weekends. They don't want to work the weekends. They take off on the weekends. But I'm going to see what I could do. I can't imagine the difference between 22 and 23. Can it make that much of a difference? So this Thursday, which is tomorrow, I'm going to talk to my doctor and say, hey, look, do I have to go through all 23? Can I take one off? Because if I take one off, then I could leave on the weekend, and I'll have a weekend in Vegas. Which I would rather be in Vegas right now than Baltimore.
Take all of your antibiotics. Do not stop early. This can lead to problems later on.
Well, what they're telling me is I still have to stay on the hormone drug for another 2 months.
Does that mean you're going to have boobs the next time we see you?
No. I've already got boobs now. I mean, hey, it's like it's all right.
We'll get you a really lovely brand new chest binder for your wedding gift.
Isn't that the whole point of getting married? So you've got some boobs.
Yeah, well, I can't share too much because Bo's sitting right next to me, but we're really happy that we're getting married, and it's very exciting. It's they say third time's the charm, so I'm hoping that they're right in this case.
Yeah, boobs,
so that's what's new with me. What's new with you guys?
They've come up with surgery.
I pulled up some stats.
Hold on, one at a time. Get.
Oh,
Wayne, go.
Oh, I just wanted to say I pulled up the stats on Las Vegas rooms.
Okay.
Yeah, the Westgate's 2,900. Yeah.
I want to say one thing. I want to say one thing before you give this information because I left out the disclaimer of the show. Everything you hear today is an opinion, so do your own research. Okay, go Wayne.
Well, wait,
There you
but
go.
before you do that, why don't I catch people up if they're just tuning in? I
Right.
was sharing with the group before we got on the air, so to speak, that Steve Wynn was talking on a podcast, and he was talking about Vegas prior to Mirage, and he claimed, I'm pretty sure he claimed that the Mirage was the first 3,000 room hotel in Las Vegas. Go Wayne.
Okay, so this is from April, so the Mirage is not on this particular list. The largest number of rooms on a single property is the MGM Grand with 6,852 rooms. The next couple are combos. So you have the Venetian and the Palazzo, which actually has 7,107 rooms.
Jesus.
The Wynn and the Encore has a total of 4,748. The Luxor has 4,407, and Mandalay Bay has 4,337. So
And the
there you
Westgate.
go.
So the
has-
real question
has
is, what's the
almost
Las Vegas
3,000.
Hilton?
The Las
Is it
Vegas
what?
Hilton. The Westgate's 3,000. It's just a couple shy of 3,000. It's 2,980 something. I looked it up.
Oh, how about that?
And
Oh,
that's
I
the
just-
reason why we have no homeless in Las Vegas. There's so many home.
Yeah. So the question is, which one is the government taking over?
That one, that and the 122-degree heat. That's why.
Circus. They're going to take over Circus.
Yeah,
for sure.
circus. They could have that one.
Oh
Yeah,
my
exactly.
God!
I heard it's on the chopping block. It's going to get torn down soon.
Yeah, I stayed there once, and what a shithole.
Oh my God! Is it ever?
Oh,
You know,
it's terrible.
I thought they.
That's what
I
you
thought
really
I read they
think,
just
Bruce.
did a big. I thought they just did a big. Put a ton of money into the circus.
The Circus.
Yeah, I just read that.
Yeah,
within the
I
last
heard
week
that.
or two.
I thought I read a week ago that the ton of money is somebody buying it to tear it down to put something else on that property.
I have to say, if you've never been to Circus, it is the most pedestrian hotel that you will ever see, ever be in your life. The pedestrians in there are just off the hook. I mean, it's like you really, when you go there, you're hoping that nobody recognizes you, and you recognize nobody. That's how it is. You want to go
That was-
incognito when you go to
It was
that
the first
hotel.
IMAX hotel, though. Right?
It was?
First IMAX in Vegas.
It had an IMAX theater in the Circus.
It wasn't that in that dome that's out front?
No. That was where they were
That's
selling
the circus.
psilocybin. That's how it was. It was the psilocybin that made you think that. That's it. Because by the way, they're saying psilocybin right now could be the cure-all for depression. They're working on that right now. So we'll see what happens.
I
with
think
that.
that's sounds a little bit like Freud and cocaine. They think it's all dandy and fantastic, and then once they start experimenting with it long term, I mean,
Sounds like something else we just experienced.
Yeah. Dark
yeah,
sky.
right.
Oh, by the way, speaking of dark sky, there is a website I want to tell you about. It's called darksky.org. Darksky.org, just the way it sounds, and it will tell you where the darkest places are in your community so that you could look up and stargaze. I didn't know there even was a site like that, but it is.
I thought it would be creepy. That doesn't sound creepy at all.
Nope, darksky.org. And there's a brand new app, which is, and I highly recommend that you all get it too as well, if you fly at all. And let me see, I'm going to tell you what it's called. It is called Flightboard, 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 and it's a free app. You can support them by buying and get rid of the ads. But all it is, it's the flight board. When you go to the airport and you look up and you see if your plane is late or what gate you're at, that's all this does. That's all it does. It's a flight board. It is absolutely cool. And you can sort it by plane, so it's easier to find your gate and your plane because you could actually say Las Vegas to New York to whatever, and it'll show up. But it does both departing and arriving. So those are two tips that I'd like to share with you.
Blackboard is great. I've been using that, and what I do a lot of times too is even before, like a month before I make a reservation. Typically I'm going through Bangkok, BKK. I take a look and see I watch the arrivals and departures, with that app, and then on my iPad I have Flight Radar 24. I'm sorry.
No, Flight Aware is good too. Flight 24 is good. And Flighty, they say Flighty is now like the bomb about notifying you about your plane being delayed or any aspect of your flight. And you could buy it for the week. I think you could buy it. Yeah, I think it's $3 for the week if you want to buy it. And the first week is free. So you could turn it on and off when you're flying.
Yeah, and you with Flighty, you can email all your reservations to it. If you have your plane itinerary, have that, your hotel reservations, your rent-a-cars, everything. It's right there. It's like having a dashboard for your trip.
That sounds very reminiscent of an app that I used to use like 20 years ago. That I don't remember I don't remember the name of it though.
Well, it could have been one of these, I didn't even know they had apps that many years ago.
Well, it might not have been an app. It might have been a website. It might have been a program. It might have been a computer that ran on tubes. I don't know, 20 years ago, that's the dark ages.
Yeah, that's it. It was the dark age. By the way, in those days, Petri Trom made a cookie called Goldfish. Do you guys ever remember the Goldfish?
A cookie called Goldfish? What do you mean? You mean, the
Crackers.
Goldfish? Yeah, wait.
Yeah, they just
make
changed the name. Nope, they changed the name. They changed the name to the Chilean sea bass cracker.
Oh, they didn't.
I'm not making this up. They changed it to the Chilean sea bass cracker. It's insane.
So
Why not a Branzino cracker?
Wait, why? Is that because goldfish is politically incorrect or something? What?
Well, because evidently they want to get the Gen Zers and the millennials to be able to eat it, and goldfish is, too old for them. So,
my gosh.
So,
Do
Jan,
your own research on that one.
Yes, do your own.
What's the big fish in Thailand that everybody eats? Like here, it's salmon and tuna and whatever for sushi and whatever. But what do people like there? What's their fish?
There's so many different fish that I don't know. I mean, really, I happen to like salmon, which is very popular there. I happen to like tuna,
Wow.
which is very popular there. But there are so many different fishes that I've never heard the name of, nor can I pronounce it. Hold on, I have somebody who speaks Thai right over here. She's let me see. Hey, Bo, what is a popular fish in Thailand?
That people eat.
What is a popular fish that people eat in Thailand, that they catch in Thailand?
She doesn't understand the word he's saying.
Yeah, she does. Red snapper. That's it. Red
snapper.
Oh,
Okay,
red
there you go.
snapper.
Thai snapper. That's it. They call it Thai snapper there. So it's there. There it is.
I know Koreans eat a bunch of stuff I've never heard of. It's really crazy.
By the
they
way,
were going to try to get the.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
yeah, but before they do, I have to tell you.
No, they
something.
do that in Ohio.
I have to tell you something, which I was still going with airport stuff in Dublin, in New Zealand right now. They put a limit on how long you can hug your partner to 3 minutes. So be careful over there.
Yeah, you would think with the Gen Zers they would have liked pink snapper crackers, but whatever.
Yep.
Like cracker snappers with little buns on their head,
Sea
Pink
bass.
snapper.
Goldfish is changing to sea bass.
I can't imagine that's possible.
That's just wrong. That just doesn't.
I
think you got to do your own research, like Greg said.
I think that is highly unlikely.
It's Pepperidge Farm goldfish.
Like I even pulled it directly off of Mandy's computer onto a USB. It was 1619 on his computer. And it was 1742 on his computer. And I opened it on my computer. It opened at 16.
Definitely 1742 computer. Yeah. Kurt, is your mic unmuted or something?
Yeah, Kurt's mic is unmuted.
I can't stay here forever. And I heard that there's a news story that involves me.
Shoot 'em.
press these days that Jan wanted me to explain.
Can you shut Kurt's microphone off?
Yeah, probably needed to go down to the shots.
Yeah, I got a phone call, unfortunately, and that
You know where to go?
disconnected.
Can you get it, the shop? Yeah. Let's do that. I'll be right back, Joe. That's all right.
So have you guys seen the new Shure thing yet? They did a class on it yesterday, and I'm going to the class tomorrow.
What are the new digital IEMs?
Oh man, yeah, one rack space. It can do like a whole shitloads of IEMs.
Yeah, I just
Shitloads
saw
as
the,
in
I
32
got
or
the
more?
press release yesterday.
Well, when Dante gets released, and it's supposed to be able to do 32.
not on
Chris,
three, I
did you
just
go
got there.
yesterday?
So
That's
how about
I didn't go, but I got the mail.
Right. I'm going tomorrow. Yeah, I'm going tomorrow. Because the one at PRG is just about 6 miles from my house.
he might even be here. So
Well,
yeah.
listen, speaking of the Shure thing that's going on, speaking of the Shure thing that's going on tomorrow, starting in January, I am going to be hosting a brand new podcast, ZoomCast, and we're calling it the Product Showcase. It's a question and answer and demonstration of new product for our industry, for the sound industry. So basically, I believe my first guest, and I can't guarantee this, but I've talked to him and he says he would do this for us if he's available, and that would be Scoville talking about EAW product.
So are you going to send out an email before each one telling who's going to be there and what they're going to be talking about?
Yeah, what's going to happen is this. I am putting together the series right now.
Great idea.
Where I am booking it so that I don't have to go week by week. I'm going to be booking it 4 weeks in advance. So that way I will have a show schedule that will always be active so that I can promote it 2-3 weeks in advance, but I'm going to have it booked at least 5 weeks in advance. So I'll let you all know.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks. I'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting, and you'll have it in advance so you could think about the questions that you want to ask to the vendors that are coming in. So I'm focusing in on Yamaha, I'm focusing on Digico, Allen and Heath, EAW, L Acoustics, Meyer, of course, and you name it, anything that we could, Sennheiser, Shure. Shure just introduced, by the way, just an FYI, they just, in case you didn't know it, a PSM that interfaces with Axient. Has anybody experimented with that? Ken Porter, maybe? Kurt Hare? Fred?
It's good. The other one too is, have you looked at the new Sennheiser too that's got the Y-band, YMAS stuff?
No, we'll get Joe in there.
That's what the new Shure thing is. It's the new WMAS stuff, but it's Shure's version of what it is. I just got the deal this morning.
Yeah, but it's a PSM, so it's in the ear. So now it's gonna tie in with the Axient.
Well, yeah, but it's still the WMAS technology. It's both. It's going to be. It talked about the in-ear stuff on the thing they released today, but it actually is both, just like the Sennheiser system, where you can have mics and IEMs all in the same system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and JBL
Sweetwater link up for some of it in the chat.
JBL just launched their 3D array plotting program.
Yeah, JBL would be a great, would be
LAC?
a great manufacturer too as well.
Hey, could we do, Fred? I don't know if you have any wireless coordinators that you work with. It might be better to have a wireless coordinator that knows all the differences and can do the difference between all three of them, how they're acting, and what they need to coordinate.
Ooh, that would be a great idea to get a wireless coordinator in and have the manufacturers as well, so they could all, get into a huge argument. I would love it.
What's his name that has Practical Show Tech? What's that guy's name?
Pete Erskine, Kelly.
Erskine's great.
We should get those guys. They would know. They'll know all about this shit once it hits the air.
Cool. That's a good idea.
They already know about it. They've been using it, and Sound Devices is another one that's coming on really strong too that they like.
Yeah, because remember, Ken, you brought in that console guy. I wish I could remember what that console's name was.
His name was Daniel, and he is from Stage Tech out of Germany, out of Berlin.
Stage Tech. That was a great, and I thought that was a great idea, but I wasn't ready at the time to introduce it. But in January, I think right after, after CES and after NAM, that's going to be the perfect time to introduce it. So that's what I'm headed for.
So,
Sounds
Jan,
cool.
you want me to tell my story?
Yes, tell your story. What story is it? Is it when you were first born?
So there was it was a few people have texted me or called me and said, "What is going on?" I saw a headline that said Barry Manilow cancels show due to audio problems. So people want to know what was that all about? And so I'll tell you without defaming him. And that would be he was, he's got his in-ears, he's got speakers, he's got his regular monitor system. We did a regular sound check. Everything was fine during the sound check. He starts the show and he's hearing, according to him, some noises in his ears, right? So he's like talking to the monitor guy after the first song or first few songs. He said, "Will, I'm hearing this noise like in my ears. Can you do something about it?" And Will he probably answered saying probably something along the lines of, "I'm not hearing that, but okay, I'll see what I can do." Right. And so then another song goes by and he goes, "Will, I'm still hearing in my ears. Is there anything you can do?" And nothing. So then he does one more song and then he runs off stage and says, "I'll be right back. 2 minutes. I'll be back in 2 minutes." And the band's playing and they're playing. And next thing we know, he's decided to cancel the show because he felt like there was no way to fix whatever it was that was bothering him. So he canceled the show. And that's the story.
Now, I have a question for you in regards to that, without knowing too much. But is it possible, that some sort of interference could be happening with your in-ear monitors that the monitor engineer would not know about, or is that impossible? Is the monitor engineer listening to everything that the headset is picking up?
Well, remember, he's listening to his receiver. The artist is listening to his receiver. The production manager is listening to his receiver. They're all tuned to the same frequency and they're all hearing theoretically the same thing. But if there's some flaw in one of them, only that person hears that flaw. You know what I mean?
They all hear the same mix, but not necessarily the same. They're all three are different frequencies. So one.
No, they're same frequencies. Yeah, all same frequencies.
Right. But I mean, yeah. So one person could be hearing a noise. That
like
the
for
other
example, and I'm going way out on a limb here. For example, let's say his microphone, he's holding the microphone and he's got the in-ear pack on his back. Let's say the microphone is interfering with his pack. And so he's the only one that's going to hear that interference. Correct. The other guys that are hearing the same pack frequency are not going to hear that interference. Only he's going to hear that. So correct. We theorized that something like that might have happened. And we even brought in an RF coordinator the next day to make sure that was not possible. And we changed some frequencies and stuff. And the next show was fine.
There's probably intermodulation distortion. You probably had some IM going on there between the pack and the mic.
Now, could that possibly? I mean, they've done so many shows in the room, and it's all the same equipment. Is it possible that could have happened, using the same equipment?
RF, man.
Could be
anything's possible.
Let me just say that we couldn't find any technical issues.
Mm-hmm.
So Ken, when you run, or anyone, I'm interested in this. So when you use the upmarket Shaw mics, you can change the level of the transmission from 5 watts to 50 milliwatts. What's the general consensus that everyone uses to set when they set their mics up? Because 50 milliwatts.
And the answer to that one, I believe, I'm no RF coordinator guy.
No, neither am I.
I'm pretty sure the answer is it depends. Because it depends on how many microphones you have in the area that you're using them, what kind of what kind of transmitters they are, how wideband each one is, and so forth, and because you don't want to, so to speak, shoot yourself in the foot. That is, you don't want to create your own interference by upping that output level, you know?
Yeah.
You also got to consider what antenna and what combiner you're using too, so you're not overmodulating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of my rule of thumb that I've learned on these is for your given circumstance, the lower the power output and the lower the antenna gain that you can get away with so that you're not absorbing information from outside the area is the way to go. But
Absolutely.
if you're going long distances or you have some things that are in the way or et cetera, then higher power may be the way to go. But it's very situation dependent. The general rule of thumb is to try to keep it down so that you're not overmodulating your space.
Now, Kenny and Wayne and you guys that use and Ken Porter, you guys that I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination on RF, but how do you test an artist's in the ear monitor? How do you test the actual apparelli that goes in the guy's ear? How do you test that?
Well, I know how our monitor guy tests them. He puts them in his ear and listens to them.
And then he cleans them and gives them to Barry.
Right.
Okay. So he did test them. So it wasn't basically, so the actual apparatus that went in Manilow's ears was perfectly working.
Yes, we're sure of that. Yeah.
So somewhere along the chain, something else happened. Could it have been that he had too much change in his pocket?
Well, I was going to say the old factor might be kicking in too.
So here's the thing. Speaking of that, Bruce. So here's the thing. Let me just. I don't want to defame this guy that I work for in any way, but let's just say we came from a beautiful 5-night in a row engagement at Radio City Music Hall, which I don't know if you've ever worked there, but it's a really glorious place to do a show, right? And he in particular, his audience there is just adores him, right? So he had a great time at Radio City, and then maybe he was having a hard time adjusting to being back at the little old Westgate Theater, the Elvis's theater at the Westgate. Just saying that may you know how sound is subjective. It largely, I mean, sometimes it's about how you feel. If you're having a bad day and you got up on the wrong side of the bed or what have you, some sounds bother you that don't normally bother you. It can be the exact same sound you heard yesterday, and today it's bothering you, but yesterday it wasn't. That kind of thing. It's just food for thought.
Yeah,
we were in Anaheim one time. I was babysitting. I was doing front of the house, and I was babysitting, and we had the Oak Ridge Boys, and the tenor singer of the Oak Ridge Boys. I watched him blast their new monitor kid up one side and down the other, and his statement was, "It sounds too orange. It needs to sound more green." And he just went off on this guy, and the front of house guy who had been their monitor guy for a long time explained to me that this particular singer would always ask for way too much volume. His ears would compress, and he was, for better or worse, he was a freaking nightmare in that regard. Although when it did finally come to showtime, you wouldn't have known any of that. Show was flawless. They were perfect. But during the sound check, it was a bloodbath.
Let's just say that's a lot more common than than a lot of people might realize, right, Ken?
Oh, of course, absolutely.
Yeah, and for anybody who used to work with Engelbert Humperdinck in those days, you know what I'm talking about without me saying anything.
Oh yeah, but the color thing, that's a good one. I've heard people say colors, and I don't get that, but
yeah.
But
I had a jazz singer one time told me that we had a bunch of floor wedges and some side fills, and I was doing monitors, and she was kind of an Ella Fitzgerald type. I can't remember her name, unfortunately, but she looks at me and she goes, "Wayne, these ones down here, they need a little more shimmer."
Oh, I remember.
I pulled out my bebop to audio translation dictionary, determined that Shimmer was about 5K, gave her a little bit more, and she was happy.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, I would have thought that right away. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be a translator.
but
That's it. You have to be able to
definitely.
interpolator.
Yeah.
Translator, psychologist.
So the end of my story is it's unfortunate that the show had to be canceled, but that was the choice that he made mid-show when he hastily came to the conclusion that it wasn't going to get any better.
Right. So in other words, he never gave Will an opportunity. Will is the monitor engineer. Never gave Will an opportunity. Take 5 minutes, see what you could do.
That's what we thought was happening when he went off stage. But when he went off stage, he said to the people at the side of the stage, that's it. I can't come back with this. So my throat is so toast from trying to sing with whatever that is that I'm listening to that I'm not going to be able to do the rest of the show. And that was
my heart goes out to Will. My heart really goes out to Will. That is a really tough position to be in.
At least they didn't come over to the console, grab him by the neck, and drag him over to the console and choke him on the ground, saying,
"Not that time, not that time." Anyway,
but at least he did. At least he did say, "Will, fix this, Will." So everybody in the audience said, "Will, who the hell?"
By the way, you know what? I should complete the story. So the following night, so we do the sound check the following afternoon, and this is so funny now, but it wasn't funny at the time. He starts the show, music's playing, comes to the point when he's supposed to start singing, nothing. I'm like, oh, I got, what, did the microphone die now? What is going on? And then a few seconds later, he goes, kidding.
And you want to kill him at that point.
Wait, Kenny told me this story, and a part that he left out is that he couldn't see Manilow's face because there were people standing up, because when the show starts, everybody's standing and giving him applause. So Kenny can't see him, and his back was towards Will, but people said that he was mouthing the words. Could you imagine if Kenny was able to see him mouthing the words and not hear anything? Oh my God.
I saw there was input on that channel, and I said, okay, I must have screwed something up and assigned it to a VCA that's turned down or some shit. I'm like going, okay, how am I going to fix this? And I'm thinking, how am I going to, oh my God, this is a nightmare. And then kidding. Oh.
So evidently he wasn't mad the night before. He was just, whatever it was, he gave you all guys a reprieve. But I still feel sorry for you guys. Yeah. That's a tough gig.
So Kenny, how long did it take you before your head was straight? Because that could totally wreck you for like a song and a half. You got to get assemble your brain sequence again.
I'm on autopilot for that whole show, so it was like 2 seconds. I was back in the pocket.
Oh my God.
But could you imagine being Will? I mean, seriously. Thinking about, forget about, just any monitor engineer, all of a sudden the show coming down and the artist blaming the monitor engineer for having to cancel a show. It's heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking.
So I have a question for the group. If the reason that your hair is gray is because of either wireless microphones or wireless intercom, please raise your hands.
It's so great stuff, right?
Yeah.
On that note, I'm sorry, but I gotta go. I got things to do here.
Ken, thanks for sharing. Thanks for coming. I will talk with you later.
But I wanted to clear that up so that if you guys happen to hear about anybody, talking about that story, because that's pretty major. Canceling a show because of sound problems doesn't happen every day. That's like that's right up there with that gig, the band that had to stop their show because the S6L wasn't working or something, right?
Oh, it was on Saturday Night Live, I think, right?
Oh, Saturday. That's right. Saturday Night Live had an issue on
with that.
Yeah, I never did ask my brother-in-law, but one of the consoles failed, and apparently.
Yeah, it rebooted.
Well, Kenny, here's to no cancellations and that your water doesn't.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, right.
All right. Thanks, Ken. I'll talk with you later.
Take care, buddy.
There was a great story when Eddie Money was on Merv Griffin, and Eddie was apparently a little buzzed when he hit the stage, and 2 Tickets to Paradise and he's singing and carrying on. And then he takes his microphone with the mic cable and starts spinning it like over his head. And then the microphone smashes on the floor, and he basically grabs the XLR cable and finishes singing it to the XLR cable, which at that point, everybody was quite clear that he was lip syncing the entire performance and wasn't even singing.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I've got a story about him. Eddie Money. It's way back in the day when I was doing A&R for RSO Records, and Eddie Money. I ran into him in a club, and we were going to go to the Whiskey to watch another act, and so he was sitting in the back seat. I had a Camaro, a two-door Camaro, and he lights up a cigarette in the back of my car, and I said to him, "Hey, put that out, man. You can't be smoking in my car." And he said to me, "Fuck you, I'll smoke wherever I want." I said, "If you don't put it out, I'm pulling over and throwing you out of the car." Well, needless to say, I pulled over, threw him out of the car, and left him on Sunset Boulevard.
Really?
Yep, those were the days.
Holy cow.
Needless to say, we were both fucked up, out of our minds. I don't know what I was doing driving at the time, but whatever. That was the 70s. So there you go, or 80s, whenever it was. Crazy times. There you go, Wayne. There's something you could talk about in Wagga Wagga about me, Hey, Ken Porter.
Yes.
Tell us something. Come on, what's new with you?
Well, let's see. If we jump back and talk about breast, there was on the business show this morning, they were talking about a new surgery centers that specializes in 15-minute breast augmentations with local anesthetic.
That's very cool. When you said breast, I thought you were going to talk about Chick-fil-A and that they're starting a new entertainment network.
That would be the gospel network.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I figured you were bringing that up.
So the other one, coming back to the wireless discussion, what's pretty interesting is we're getting rid of the coax, the 50-ohm coax or whatever, or 75-ohm. Which one is it? 50, I think. And then they're going to Cat 6. So it's all on Cat 6 now. Or fiber. They also doing fiber runs, so you get a longer transmission on fiber.
Right. You know what I heard today? And I don't know if this is true, but Greg Baker would probably know. Wayne would definitely know. Fred might know, but Kenny, you might know as well. I heard that there's a shortage of fiber optic cable right now because the military, because of all the wars that are going on, that the military is absorbing most of the fiber optic cables because that's how they build their tanks, that's how they build their bases. They use fiber optics, and they're using an abundance of fiber optic. Are you hearing that?
I haven't had to buy fiber lately. I've had some in the summer, but I haven't bought any just recently.
Mm-hmm. Wayne, are you hearing anything like that, Wayne Pierce?
No, but I'm not buying fiber. So
the only thing I'm hearing is that the government or the Navy is 24 subs behind where they should be, and they're trying to build 24 subs in the next 2 years. But I don't know how much fiber you use building subs.
Yeah.
About how many speakers?
Have a problem. They're buying fiber left and right. So.
Hey, do you have some news from us about the hurricane or anything about that? Anything going on in your neck of the woods?
I had.
Yeah, Greg, update us.
Very good day, because all of my storm debris got picked up out of the front off my easement today on our entire block.
Do you have to rebuild anything?
No. I actually evacuated to northeast of where I live because I stayed here for the first one, which is Helene, and I lost power for 5 days, and I wasn't going to go through that again. I had I have a whole home generator, but it runs on city gas, Clearwater Gas Company. Well, Clearwater Gas Company go seawater, So there was no gas service. So I had no power. So,
has anybody heard from Jay Easley?
And the second one, all it did was, knock down some trees in my backyard. So I was lucky.
Yeah.
Hey, Greg.
Yeah.
Have you heard from Jay Easley since he's down below Tampa there?
No, I haven't. But I think he's working though.
Well, he's working for QSC now, and he's still doing Blue Man Group stuff and things like that. And I think he occasionally goes out and fills in on Bush when they need to cover something. But was down at a house down in Florida, and I know it's right on the water, because his backyard was pool level, was the water. I didn't know how he fared.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I'll reach out to him, see how he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Dennis, Dennis River Idera,
right?
Yeah, he used to. What show did he do? He did.
He's in Scoville's room.
Yeah. He did okay. He got clobbered on the last year, where because he was down in Fort Myers Beach area.
Yeah. I mean, those people really got clobbered. You know what? They say the damage from Hurricane Milton is going to be $34 billion.
Yeah.
Isn't that insane?
Well, right across, buy orange juice futures, because a lot of the grows here in Florida just got wiped out. So, and whatever else they grow. So, but then again, too, it was surprisingly none of the theme parks were hurt, by Milton.
Oh, gee whiz.
Yeah. Well, hey, talking about billion-dollar industries.
Well, you want to hear something that's gonna it would be shocking. It would be shocking if I didn't go to I just went to Disney. It cost me $304 for two of us, and we got the Lightning Pass, right? Mm-hmm. So listen to this story right now. So the Disney Resort in California will pass. It's now going to cost $400 a person per day, available from October 23rd to the end of 24. And it's insane. And the pass will be priced per person per day. And then it could range from $137 to $478. Mm-hmm. And that is so you don't have to stand in line. It's called the Lightning Pass. And that's above the price of the ticket. So you could be spending $600-700 per person.
Well, they just announced today. I don't know when it goes into effect, but Disney's raising Disney World prices on all their season passes are going up another 24%.
Yeah.
Universal last week, because they got that new land opening up in 2025, they raised all their Universal passes up 25%.
Is this insane? Dynamic pricing?
Huh?
Is this called dynamic pricing?
Yeah.
They're selling tickets on Ticketmaster?
Yeah. Well,
they haven't started doing it yet.
Universal Epic Universe, I think they call it, the actual new park that they're building in Orlando. They're for the first 2 months, the only people that they're allowing in is if you book a 3-day ticket. So in other words, that's like $2,500 a person for 3 days, plus your hotel costs.
That's insane. It's just insane. Plus food and drink, because you can't bring any food into the park, so you have to buy everything there.
Yeah. I mean, I used to go to Disney, 7, 8, 10 times a year, but I can't afford it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up next to Anaheim, and this guy down the street was working at Disney, and he would just give us the ticket books. That was back when you had A, B, C, D, and E's.
Yeah.
And we had a kitchen drawer. You dig into the back of the kitchen drawer, and there was God knows how many ticket books. And now, I went to I talked to Jen by chance. I was at the Dodgers game on Sunday when they beat the Mets and are going to the World Series. It was a great experience, but I don't know that I would do it again.
A hot dog and a Coke is $60.
It's like going to the
beers are $23 each. Hot dogs are $10 each. Peanuts, and the parking is $60. And I can't even imagine, if you brought a family of 4 and got some food and had a few drinks and watched the game. You're dumping $1,000. No problem.
So the question is,
World Series tickets are between $1,300 and $1,500.
Yeah, I read somewhere that the same price as a Taylor Swift ticket. It's to go to the World Series. You're paying you're paying as much as you would if you're going to get ground level seats at a Taylor Swift show.
So how much is the Formula One tickets too? Are not cheap?
No, they were $175.
Really?
I saw it on. I saw
in the bleachers. Yeah,
in the bleachers. Yeah.
I was going to say, because I knew somebody that had tickets at Casino Square every year in Monte Carlo, and he paid like €1,200, and that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah. Hey, listen, if you're going to Las Vegas, I'm pretty sure it's Instagram. It might be, I'm positive it's Instagram. There's this woman, she calls herself Las Vegas Starfish. And this woman must go out to a different restaurant in the morning, a different one in the afternoon, and a different one in the evening. But she really knows her restaurants and places in Las Vegas. So her name is Las Vegas Starfish. And I highly recommend that if you're going to go to Las Vegas, Google her and watch some of her, she does the shorts. She does nothing long, nothing more than a minute. And I'm telling you, I've learned so much about where to go in Las Vegas from listening to her. And it's impressive. She's really good at that. Really good. Las Vegas Starfish is what she calls herself. And she always ends everything, tell me if you've ever gone, would you go, or would, and what you think, or something like that. She has a catchphrase at the end of it, which is really cool as well. So Las Vegas Starfish. What about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Anybody watch it? Anybody go to it? Anybody want to say anything about Sherilyn Sarkisian?
I thought it doesn't broadcast until New Year's Day.
It was live on Disney Plus.
It's on Hulu. I haven't watched it yet, but it's on. There's a 3-hour version of it on Hulu.
Right. That's where you
said it was very taxing.
Mix. Everything out of the when it's coming up in January, it's a remix. It's an edited remix.
Yeah, Scoville said it was really, really taxing. It was a lot of work for him, nerve-wracking, but it all came off. They had some problem with the podium mics, I think.
I don't know. I didn't see it, so I'll find out tomorrow.
Yes. That's if Scoville's buying a house, and so I don't know if he. When I spoke with him this week, I don't know if he's doing his show tomorrow. He might let somebody else turn it on, anyway. If the back lounge, it's a great opportunity. They don't broadcast it. Everything's kept in the room. So, there's a lot of anonymity there, and you could say whatever you want and nobody cares because, nobody's listening anyway. So there you have it. Just remember, that's my opinion. Do your own research. So you feel free to say whatever you want. There you go. What else is going on? Anybody want to tell us what's new with them? All right, let me see if I have anything else that I wanted to discuss. And if I don't, NASA. What's going on with NASA? So NASA, before we talk about these people coming home that have been stuck up in the space capsule there in the space station for an arm and a leg, a day and a half, whatever. the space the space NASA has made a deal with Prada, and Prada is now going to be designing the spacesuits.
They've already designed them, and they've shown them.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I thought they wouldn't be there because they're not going to be used on until the moon expedition in 2026.
But they already did a showing of them already. Put it that way. They're already done.
I thought the epaulets were a nice touch.
Yeah.
Ground control to Major Tom. That's it. So, anyway, last thing I want to talk about before we go off the air is two things. There's actually two things. One, WhatsApp. If you guys are following what's going on with WhatsApp, WhatsApp is going to be changing their mode of operandi, and instead of using phone numbers, you're going to be using usernames. So it's going to go away from your phone book, and WhatsApp is only going to become usernames. So if you're not using WhatsApp, or watch for that change. It's going to be happening, I believe, with the next upgrade of the app, where they're going to convert your phone book from phone numbers to usernames on WhatsApp and be a standalone app. So that way you could use it on multiple devices instead of just one device at a time.
Thank you.
And the other thing that's happening, and this is something you really need to know, is that X has unveiled its newest term of service. And starting next month, that's Twitter for those people who don't remember, starting next month, by continuing to use the platform, users will agree that X can use any of their text and data to train its AI model. So whatever you're saying, they're going to be using it for you. You're going to be giving up your rights to anything you post on X for X to be able to capture it and use it in artificial intelligence. So be aware. And that's it.
Chris is happily playing drums there.
Yes, yep. Chris is a happy guy. I think he's a very, very happy guy, a wonderful man, and a good friend of the show and a good friend of mine. And so, I want to thank you all for coming. Thank you all for watching. I mean, I think here, let me click the like button. Remember to click the like button and share the show and tag yourself or whatever you want to do. Remember, everything you heard today is an opinion, so do your own research. And we will be back again for our 231 Talking Amongst Friends. What's new with you, or what's on your mind, or whatever I want to call it. But, basically. And then remember, in January, we're starting our new show about the Manufacturer's Product Showcase. So there will be a question and answer and a demonstration on new products in the sound business. And so if anybody has any ideas of what they want to see, DM me or send me an email or call me or whatever and let me know so that I could start arranging it, because I want to start arranging these manufacturers to so that when we go into the second week of January or third week of January, I have a string of shows that I could promote as we go. And plus, I want to be able to give discounts and giveaways and swag and whatever, something, so it's not just going to be blah, 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 talking heads of information. You're actually going to get something out of it other than information and knowledge. Who would have thought of that?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I got a notice today that the NAMM show is now 5 days. The 23rd to the 25th or whatever it is.
Now, is that going to be the exhibit hall, or is that
That's
going
what
to
it
be?
sounded like. That's why I'm asking.
Are they doing educational things as well?
No, it sounded like it was exhibits.
I thought there was 2 days of classes at the beginning, and it was running the 23rd, 24th, 25th.
Okay.
Because I have manufacturers doing some reveals on the 22nd, the day before the start of the show.
All right. I'm going the last days anyway, so it doesn't affect me. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'm going to miss it again this year, which is unfortunate because I really love that show. I love NAMM. If you've never been to a NAMM show, you owe it to yourself to go. I mean, I don't know if it's the same as it was in the old days, but in the old days, it was definitely a show among shows. I mean, it was like the show was in the aisles, It was like...
Those were the days of spandex.
Yes, and long hair and hair bands and stuff like that. Or to quote my good friend Tony from the Rainbow, we're moving stars, keep it moving, just don't stand still, keep it moving. So before we say goodbye to the listening audience, is there anybody in the room that wants to say anything to the streaming audience?
Well, I pulled up the NAM site, and it is events 21 through 25, exhibits 23 through 25.
Oh, good. Okay.
Well, there you have it. There you go, and that's the gospel. So remember that when you think of us, think of the gospel. That's it. There we have it.
So we were talking about IEMs earlier in the show, and what happened with Ken, and I'll tell my story that I heard a long time ago, which would make you want to use IEMs. I used to work with a guy. We did home theater installs and stuff like that, and one of our clients one time was the actor Robbie Benson. And Robbie Benson was married to a gal named Carla DeVito, who was the on-stage singer with
Meatloaf. Yeah.
Right. She didn't do the record, but she was the one that did the tours. And we were chatting with her, and she was telling us how unbearably loud the monitors were when she came down front to sing Paradise by the Dashboard Light and sing her parts. And she said it was just painful. It was so loud down there.
Yep.
So she was probably wishing that he had IEM so she wasn't getting torched every night when she would walk down there.
So also on your calendar of NAM, the 24th is Parnelli's at night.
Oh, that's I spoke to Terry Lowe, and he is so proud of that, and he has every reason to be proud of that. The Parnellis, he's really done a great job with that. I mean, an amazing job with the Parnellis. Amazing job. And I have some news for you in case you guys didn't know it. I was not nominated this year again. So just want you to know that.
Maybe you need to change categories.
Well, with that, we're going off the air. Remember, you make it happen. See you next week. And remember, do your own research. Everything you heard today was an opinion. So, and with that in mind,